What's going on, everybody? Welcome to After Prison Show, and in this video I want to ask all of you a question that I really want to hear your answer to. Along with this question, I'm also going to answer this myself as well as tell you a story. So with that, let's just go ahead and get right into this video. I received a message on the After Prison Show Facebook page at After Prison from an awesome supporter of the show by the name of Lewis, who said, "Yo, it's the newest member of the incarceration nation. With 9 days left before I do a 3-year bid, I wanted to ask some of you and your viewers what they would do with the time they had left in the free world, and if possible, a shout out to you and After Prison Show." Now, the first thing that I want to say is a very special shout out to this guy Lewis, who's getting ready in 9 days to have to go serve 3 years in prison. I couldn't even imagine what that would be like, knowing that in 9 days, you have to turn yourself in to go serve 3 years. Because in every situation that I've faced personally where I've gotten locked up, I never had any real time in the free world to think about getting ready to go turn myself in. In fact, every time that I've ever been locked up, it's pretty much just been, you're getting locked up. Do not pass go to collect that $200. You're going straight to jail. So to think about having a little more than a week to prepare to go serve this prison sentence, I can't even imagine what this guy's mind state must be. But thinking about the question that he posed in this message, if you knew that you had 9 days left in the free world until you had to turn yourself in to go serve a 3-year prison sentence, what exactly would you do with that time if you were in that same situation? What would be the most important things that you would want to do with that time? Would it be eating as much good food as you possibly could in those 9 days? Would it be getting laid as much as you possibly could in those 9 days, knowing that while you're serving that time in prison, that is certainly something that's not going to be a part of that at all. That is, however, in most cases. Would it be spending as much quality time as you could with your family, your kids, your loved ones? Would it be going out every single day looking for a party, trying to get drunk or whatever, just trying to not have to think about that time that you're getting ready to have to go serve? Or maybe just overall trying to go out and have fun with your friends, doing things that you know you will not be able to do once locked up. Having 9 days left out in the free world before you have to go serve a prison sentence, I mean, you really could do a lot in that time. But I could imagine it would be pretty hard to enjoy whatever it is that you chose to do with that time, knowing that once those 9 days are up, you're gonna be locked up. So again, I ask all of you out there, how would you spend your last 9 days out in the free world if you were in that situation? And just to answer that myself, I mean, knock on wood, that I never find myself in that, that's not even wood right there that I'm knocking on. Damn it! But I really hope that I never find myself in that situation. But if it was me, I guess the best thing that I would do with my time is pretty much all of the above. All of the things that I had just mentioned previously, minus the whole going out there partying, trying to get drunk every single day. I mean, that's not gonna do me any good at all. But I'm definitely gonna wanna be eating as much good food, getting laid as much as I possibly can, spending as much time with my friends and loved ones, trying to do as many fun things as I possibly can in that time, knowing that once I am locked up, I'm not gonna be able to do those things for quite a while. So I guess really the simplest way I could put it is I would try to utilize those 9 days to the utmost fullest, trying to make the most of every one of those days, and also trying to keep in mind that even though it's gonna be 3 years that I have to serve, at least it is only 3 years, and I will get another chance out in the free world once that time is up, to try to ensure that I never end up in that situation again. And I can assure you that would be something a hell of a lot easier said than actually done. And while locked up serving that 3-year sentence, I would try to do the most that I possibly could to in some way try to ensure that my chances of success after release were the best that they possibly could be. I would try to get involved in as many school and class programs as were offered wherever I was locked up. I would try to get the best possible job while on the inside, something that would help me establish some sort of routine while on the inside that would also help to make my time go by just a little bit faster. Maybe even some sort of a prison hustle, whether it be tattooing or gambling, though those two things could end up getting you in trouble and also very likely end up causing you to serve just a little bit more time added onto your sentence. I would also try to work out as much as I possibly could, something that's not only good for your physical being, but also for your mental health as well. Working out is a great way to try to keep your sanity while serving any amount of time anywhere. And all of these things that I've mentioned are also a great way to help you get into a routine, something that you definitely need while locked up, to help that time that you do have to spend locked up pass by just a little bit smoother. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, I've never found myself in a situation where I had time left out in the free world before I had to go turn myself in. Every time that I've ever been locked up, again, it happened right there on the spot. Because in every single case, me getting locked up ultimately started with me getting arrested right then and there. Every single time, except for this one time. And this one time that I'm about to tell you about, this little before prison story, even though this time was a little bit different, it really wasn't that much different at all. You see, back when I was 18 years old and after the very first time that I had gotten arrested, gotten locked up, this was for a grand larceny charge. Well, during that time, and also because of the fact that this was my first ever charge, I ended up getting out on bond. And not only did I get out on bond, but also my co-defendant from that very first grand larceny charge, this guy named Josh that I've told you about, this best friend of mine at the time who ultimately ended up snitching on me, as well as also sleeping with every single girl that I ever knew in my life. But again, during this time, we both ended up out on bond. And while we were both out on bond, I was living with my father at the time. Josh was living with his father at the time. But even with that, we still ended up linking back up and going out there pretty much doing the exact same thing that we had been doing before we got locked up. And I gotta be honest with you, I am not proud of this at all. To say that I was a complete dumbass at the age of 18 is the biggest understatement of the century, because I cannot even beat around the bush when I tell you that I was a complete fuck up at the age of 18. So again, while we were out on bond and still awaiting court for this first ever grand larceny, we were out there still doing the same shit. And wouldn't you know, because we certainly were no world-class criminals, maybe we were even more to the likes of the world's dumbest criminals, we ended up getting caught again, which would ultimately lead to us facing a second grand larceny charge. But the difference in this case was that we weren't actually caught red-handed, not like every other instance in my life where I had been locked up, where I had been caught just like that, red-handed. This time was just a little different. And in this case, what happened was somebody knew what we were doing, ended up telling on us. And because Josh was staying in the same city where this happened at, Josh ended up getting arrested first. Now, while all of this was taking place and before Josh gets locked up first, he ends up calling me, telling me, "Hey, Joe, guess what? You remember such and such?" "Yeah, of course I do. He's a good friend of ours." "Yeah, well, he's not really that good of a friend of ours because he just told on us for what we were doing and we're about to get locked up right now." "Oh. Well, this can't be good because we're sitting out on bond right now for one of these charges already, and you're now telling me that because this guy told on us, we're about to get locked up for another one of these charges? We're gonna get a life sentence." And you know, back before the time that Josh would actually tell on me, and even with the fact that he had probably slept with every single girl that I ever knew in my life, I don't even know how this makes any sense what I'm about to say, but he was kind of a good friend of mine. Because I mean, at least he gave me the heads up that we were about to get locked up. Now, after Josh had given me this heads up, I hung up the phone, and a few hours later, I tried to call Josh back. However, when I tried to call him back, it wasn't him who picked up the phone. It was his brother who told me that Josh had just been arrested for another grand larceny charge. So, of course, when I heard this news, I knew then that it was only a matter of time before these cops showed up at my father's house to then arrest me. And again, this was the only time in my life ever that I had any amount of time left in the free world, knowing also that I was about to get locked up myself. And how I chose to spend that time, I will never forget. Because what I ended up doing while waiting for the police to come arrest me was absolutely nothing. It would only end up being something like 2 hours before the police showed up at my father's house to arrest me. And during those last 2 hours that I had left in the free world, I spent that time doing absolutely nothing. I sat in my room with my then 15-year-old little brother who knew that his older brother was about to get locked up. And I can really remember like how devastating this was for my little brother, knowing that the police were probably on their way to come arrest me. And I think that was the thing that had the most effect on me during that whole situation. It wasn't the fact that I was about to get locked up, that I knew the police were probably on their way to come arrest me. It was seeing how this whole situation was affecting my little brother. I mean, that was legitimately worse than knowing that I was about to get locked up. And if you're wondering what happened with that second grand larceny case, I ended up going to jail for like 2 months for that. Went to court, my public defender came at me with a plea bargain for petty larceny. Just go ahead and plead guilty to this misdemeanor. And I didn't know at the time why they were coming at me with a lesser charge. But it's more obvious to me now, thinking back to this, that they didn't have enough evidence to convict me of that felony grand larceny charge. And with that, and also the fact that I'd already spent 2 months in the jail, I ended up getting time served and then ended up getting transferred to the other city, Chesapeake, where I would then face that first grand larceny charge I had caught with that good old best friend co-defendant Josh, guy that slept with every single girl I ever knew. Why you gotta be my best friend, Josh? Life, I gotta tell you, it is all about learning lessons. And another lesson that I would also be forced to learn during that first grand larceny charge is that sometimes those people you consider your best friends will end up snitching on you in an effort to save their damn selves. So yeah, just wanted to tell you that little before prison story about what I did with that last little bit of time that I had left out in the free world. And as I wrap this up, I ask all of you again, if you knew that you only had 9 days left before you had to go turn yourself in for any amount of time, what would you do with those last few days left before you got locked up? Hey, look, that's it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you thought about it. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!